It is 6 o'clock, and welcome to the regular work session of the Highland Village City Council. We're convening at 6:02, and let the record show all council members are present. Item number 1 on the agenda is clarification of consent or action items listed in today's City Council meeting agenda for October 25th, 2022. Does anybody have any questions or clarification on items?
I believe I do, if you don't mind. And this is regarding consent agenda item number 10. Angie, I wrote it down fortunately so I wouldn't forget. On the list of those individuals signed up in opposition, did not wish to speak with no details regarding their opinion. It says in here the following people signed up in opposition and did not wish to speak. No details regarding their opposition was provided.
Right. So on the form, there is a place where you can check
Either or.
for or opposed.
Right.
They checked that, but as far as if it was for a public hearing, if it was for the comp plan, zoning, there was nothing else written on the form itself, not even an agenda item number. I didn't want to just assume. I mean, I assume while they were here was for the comp plan, but with them not identifying that on the speaker request form.
Okay, so the statement, no details of their opposition, you don't know what their opposition was. They signed up in opposition, but you don't know for what item.
Right. There was nothing else on the form, no agenda item number reflected or a topic.
Okay.
Just
all right.
checked opposition.
Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay. Anybody else?
Is that thing not working?
No, there was a light that was on that.
Okay.
It may have been from the kids from Friday.
Okay.
May have been left on.
So anyway, I do. On consent item 15, and this one's for Scott. Good thing he's in the front row. Okay, so I assume they're trying to sell the property or whatever, and a piece of their property or a building is actually over our, currently our easement, correct?
It's currently built and it's encroached on the easement, yes.
How did that get built in the first place?
I can't answer that.
I'm just curious. I mean, if it was all surveyed and everything was approved, I'm just curious, how does that happen? They just build over the survey line and not care, or just?
When they, a possible, it could have possibly happened when they brought a benchmark in and it was 6 inches off, 2 feet off to the north, south. That's one possibility. They could have, they could have busted it in the site when the construction crew is in there and measuring with a tape measure instead of a laser or a transit.
Okay. So
any number of things could have happened.
So if we go ahead and do that, there's not going to be an issue or anything like that for the.
There's no city infrastructure in the water sewer easement, as they reconfigured the buildings several years ago and replatted, and that easement just never went away.
So whatever infrastructure is there would now become theirs, or is it ours?
It's theirs. It's their building.
Okay. Well, I'm talking about what's in the easement.
There's nothing in the easement.
Okay.
In the water sewer drainage easement. The drainage easement on the western side, the 6-inch encroachment is a large diameter box culvert, but they're just in it 6 inches.
Okay.
We're
All right.
talking
If you say it's okay.
6 inches times how long?
6 inches by, I don't know, it's one articulation of it's like a pillar in the building.
Okay. All right. Tiny. Okay.
Mr. Heslop, did you have something, or are you just testing whether or not you found your button?
No, I found my button. I was going to make a comment, but it's a small piece like this. A lot of times what happens is the original builder, they come across a little challenge, and instead of asking permission, they say it's only about 5 or 6 inches, and they do it, and they ask for forgiveness later.
And that's apparently what's going on today.
That is correct.
That could be a true statement.
Stick to it.
Anything else from anybody else?
Yep.
All right, moving on. Item number 2, receive presentations from nonprofit organizations requesting funding for providing services, programs, and/or benefits serving a public purpose to city residents. And we have a list. I think the first one on the list is CASA, Court-Appointed Special Advocates of Denton County.
Sorry, I third. Thank you. Good evening, and thank you for allowing me to speak. I am Sharif Rye, the Program Director of CASA of Denton County. And while COVID continues to affect our lives in various ways, I wanted to talk to you a couple of minutes about another epidemic in Denton County. A baby girl born to a Louisville mother by cesarean section because the mother had overdosed on illegal drugs. The baby suffered withdrawals in the NICU unit for 2 months. A 3-month-old baby found in a Denton home littered with used needles and discarded drug paraphernalia. The baby was emaciated and had 4 fractures in one arm. 2 young teenagers were being sex trafficked by their mother's boyfriend. The good news in all of these cases is that they all had a trained CASA volunteer who was advocating on their behalf. Their CASA would investigate the child's situation, monitor their progress while they were in foster care, and make fact-based observations and recommendations to help the court decide where these children should be placed and the outcome of their case. Over the last 12 months, CASA of Denton County has served more than 643 children from all over the county, and 253 of them were removed from their homes because of active addiction problems of their caregivers. That number is about equal to the number of those who were directly affected by physical or sexual abuse over the last year. Other children were children that were affected by violence against someone else in their home, their mother, or even another child, as in 2 cases we received last month where investigators suspect violent punching, hitting, or shaking of babies under the age of 6 months. Violence and drugs are a scourge on our community, and it's time that we all realize they endanger the well-being, the development, and the safety of our youngest and most vulnerable citizens. So there's 2 reasons that I'm here tonight. One is that CASA requests your help in finding these community volunteers that stand up for these children. That we expect that they will be, over the next year, we will have 254, that's what we have now, child advocates serving on children's case, but we need a lot more, as you can see. We've been able to keep up, but just barely, just barely. I'm also here to tell you that it costs CASA about $2,000 to serve each child with advocacy for 1 year, including the cost of recruiting our volunteers, training them, and supervision of the volunteers while they go to court. CASA will receive $145,000 in local government grants and allocations this calendar year from Denton County commissioners and cities such as Louisville, Denton, Flower Mound, Frisco, the Colony, and of course, Highland Village. This amount fully funds advocacy for about 72 children. And while that's not all the children, it is a key component to our overall budget and allows each city a mechanism to directly support our community's children. We appreciate your support each year as a vital part of our budget, and one way we show our other funders that the community supports the work that we do and the volunteers, the community volunteers that step up. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oh, was I supposed to answer questions?
That was my thing. We can ask questions, right? Okay. Mr. Heslop, I think your light's on. Did you have a
Oh,
question?
no, sir.
Okay.
I messed
Anybody
up
have
my
any questions?
I do, if you don't mind.
Sure.
How do you get notified?
So I am at the office, and we get an affidavit from the DA's office saying
So
that
it's
a
a
child's
referral
been.
from courts,
Yes. It comes directly from the DA's office.
so there's no early intervention.
Actually, it's interesting that you say that because we've just started a program called Early Advocacy where we will get notified before a removal happens. If a judge orders that a child or a family have court-ordered services, in the past, CASA has never been allowed to serve on those cases, but we just got a waiver, so January 1 we'll be allowed to get in on the prevention side of that. So we're really excited about that, and we're training up volunteers for that now.
Okay, good.
That's good news.
Yeah, we're really excited. It's never happened in our 30 years.
That's great, thank you.
So as it turns out, I did get the order out of order.
Oh, okay.
You are. I was looking at a
Sorry,
different.
whoever
I was looking at a different list. Did you have a question, John?
Nope.
Okay. So next up will be Louisville Lake Symphony. My apologies.
No problem.
It's the order in our books.
Well, there's an order in the book of where the applications are, and then there's an order of who's here and what time they're supposed to be here that I have. So,
And they don't match.
nope, not quite.
Maybe we need a conductor.
I think it's alphabetical.
Sure looks that way, yeah.
Okay, ready?
Go ahead.
Well, good evening. I'm Nancy Wright, a member of the Louisville Lake Symphony Board. You know, I often say your citizens vote with their feet by attending our events and participating in our organization. And I hope you've had time or will have time to read the handouts to understand why I say that. Meanwhile, what I'd like to share with you tonight is how your funding over the years has helped make a difference in the community. It started 39 years ago that a group of people from the communities around Louisville Lake, including Highland Village citizen and arts activist Diana McMillan, realized that there was a need for high-quality live music within our community. And the efforts resulted in the formation of the Louisville Lake Symphony Orchestra, which has been a great success since then. A few years later, Diana was again instrumental in making our annual Peter and the Wolf concert, which introduces young children to the wonders of live music, a reality. And we've been doing that for 35 years. Then we thought, what can we do to encourage kids who are already involved in music? And in 2002, we started our Young Artist Competition for 6th through 12th graders. Then we thought, how could we present some of the amazing talent from UNT's renowned music school right here in our community? And the answer to that was our International Chamber Series, which is presented, well, it's been going on for 19 seasons, and we present it right down the street here at Trinity Presbyterian Church, just across from the Marcus High School football field. And, oh, by the way, we decided we would do that at no charge so that anybody and everybody could attend. Then in 2011, we launched our very popular intern program where 8th through 12th graders provide assistance at our concerts in return for earning community service credits. And then a long-held dream of collaborating with LISD to present a live educational concert attended by every third grader became a reality. That means every third grade student in Highland Village since 2012 has had this experience, which has led to many eventually joining the outstanding band and orchestra programs that are offered in the community. This year, we've added 2 new programs. One is for Scouts to earn their music appreciation badges. And guess what? The very first group to take us up on this was from Highland Village, so kudos. And because we want to reach out to all members of our community, our other new program is our Diversity and Opportunity Initiative, where we are providing free tickets to our concerts to underserved students and their families. We appreciate, and we do, the funding that you have been providing for many years that has helped us develop this wide array of enriching programs. This year, as we relaunch all these activities after COVID, we are facing many financial challenges, and we really need your support. Thank you for your consideration of our $4,000 grant request, and especially for your partnership in all we do. What questions do you have?
Any questions, anybody?
I don't.
Just make a comment. We are season ticket holders and can vouch how great the concert series is.
Thank you.
So we enjoy it, and we'll be taking our grandson to a couple of the sessions coming up. So
Well, that's wonderful.
yeah.
Yeah, we're excited about this season because after, COVID was kind of we did it. We kept things moving, but we had to do it with, smaller groups and everything. So now we're back fully in force, and it's an exciting season. So see you in November then.
Yep. Yep. Will do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else? Thank you.
Next up is Winning the Fight. It's a different Kathy.
Yeah, there's 2 of us. Kathy squared. My name is Kathy O'Keefe, and I'm the executive director of Winning the Fight. Thank you so much for having us here. Thank you, staff, everybody. It's such a pleasure to be able to do this. It's been a real busy year for us. Everybody's mentioning COVID. We think it's going away, but it keeps kind of coming back up. One of the things that we're seeing the most is we have a lot of kids with anxiety and depression, and that's creating a lot of wanting them to substance use. And as Children's Advocacy said, we have a nightmare going on with drugs right now, especially with fentanyl. One of the things that we actually wrote for funding for was our revitalization retreat. And that's basically a retreat for 30 people. And most of them are PTSD families, whether they've lost somebody due to substance use or they have somebody actively using or trying to get into recovery. It's very hard on the families. And so what we try to do is that kids go off to treatment. We're trying to help the families try to solidify that because it's chaos. So we have this program it's a one-day program, and we put them through 7 different therapies, and they're unique therapies: music therapy, art therapy, dynamic therapy, and things like that, comedy therapy. So that's one of the programs that we're going to do with these fundings. Another thing is that we had to do, unfortunately, is we have a grief group called Missing Pieces, and it's for anybody who's lost somebody to substance use. A few months ago, we took a hiatus on that because we didn't have the need. Well, we have the need right now, so we are actually implementing that back on November 2nd with a professional counselor leading and facilitating that group. We recently lost a Highland Village student from Marcus that was 17 years old. Fentanyl is really hurting us a lot in the neighborhood. We have a commonly used drug sheet that we produce and we provide every single student in Briar Hill for their parents. It's common drugs that are used in the house as well as illegal and illicit drugs. So it helps parents kind of understand what they're looking for. It's hard for parents to teach kids about drugs if they don't know it themselves. You know, if I don't know about meth, how do I teach my kid about meth? So we're hoping that this kind of helps the parents along with a lot of our programs. We actually have 2 board members right now on our board from Highland Village, so that's kind of a big help for us. We're doing a lot more presentations now at Marcus High School. Schools are opening up now, because of fentanyl. Schools are opening up and starting to kind of pay attention that we need to provide education. The schools are not qualified for that, so they're actually bringing qualified people in. That has not been an easy move. It's happening a lot more now. I think a lot has to do with DEA. We're working very closely with DEA and police departments. This fentanyl is just a scary situation. And then we continue to have our Better Safe Than Sorry program. We're kind of pushing it out. And basically what that program is we're trying to encourage every single family to put a biometric or a key lock, not key lock, but a pad safe into their home to lock up not just prescription medications, but over-the-counter medications. Because if you take those over-the-counter medications and mix it with a medication that's prescription, it's a disaster. And then a lot of the kids understand that if you take, for example, Imodium D, if they take like 6 to 8 Imodium Ds, this is the same thing as a heroin high. And our kids know this, so let's lock that stuff up. We have 3 PSAs that I believe are playing on your channel all the time, and they're playing other places as well. We're trying to inundate the community just so that we have some education, because you know everybody has people come in their homes and we don't know anybody's story. You know, I have somebody comes and cleans my house, or somebody comes to repair something. I don't know their story, and I don't know if they're going to be seeking drugs, so I want to make sure that I lock them up. And then the last thing is, I'm not sure if you're aware, but we do a court program. So it's a 45-minute documentary that they're watching our documentary just once. And then there's a questionnaire on that where they have to do an essay. And then there's another video that they're watching on specific drugs, how they act in the body, and what the consequences are to those. So we put those onto video, and then there's a test for that. And your municipal court is now using that. So we're getting drug education out there for people who maybe have a paraphernalia charge. So it's not a big enough charge for a drug charge, but it's big enough to be able to give them some drug education. So the money that we're asking for goes to these programs, and we really appreciate it. We're working right now, as of last year, we work with 30 families, and they take kind of a lot of work. It's not just give them off after a day, but they take weeks and sometimes months to work through. So, and right now, it looks like we're increasing it about 3% for this coming year, which for a town or a city as small as Highland Village, it's pretty big. So thank you very much for giving us this opportunity. Any questions?
I'd just like to, we've spoken before about this, I'll say it publicly, I'd just like to thank you for what you're doing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You talk about fentanyl. I lost my mom to fentanyl addiction decades ago before fentanyl was popular. So it's a scary, scary drug. She administered fentanyl. She knew the risks, and it still got her.
Yeah.
So I appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you. I don't know if you know, I'm gonna give a little blurb here. There are precursor drugs that you have to use to make fentanyl, and those two drugs, a drug, chemical, comes from India and China. It's the only place that makes those. So we have to use them in order to do that. Now China is going ahead and selling the fentanyl along with all the equipment that they were using to make it down to Mexico. And you've got, now we're destabilizing the United States, and they're wiping out a generation from basically 17 to 48 years old. That's our future military. They're destabilizing our country over a drug. And fentanyl is a U.S. problem. It's not a problem anywhere else. It's scary. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Studio B.
Hi, my name is Karen Lott. I'm part of the Executive Board of Directors at Studio B. I'm the secretary. A lot of y'all know us. We're a nonprofit community theater that we've been serving the area for 23 years. We're 100% volunteer run. Our board of directors is all volunteers, and we lead the organization. And we provide live theater entertainment for Highland Village and the surrounding cities. We offer lots of different things. We offer classes, which might be something like preparing for an audition, learning some dance skills, learning some set painting skills, things like that. And those are for different ages depending on what the class is. We also offer basic training for the arts. So it can be a wide variety of things, and we change things each year depending on what the needs are, what kind of interests are being shown. We offer 8 productions each year. It's a variety. Some of it is for kids only, and it's in a learning environment. Some of it is for adults only, and then community productions, which is all ages. We just finished community production, ages 7 to 70-something, and it was Oliver the Musical, our first full production in 3 years because of COVID. We had 45 members